All right then. Hi everybody. Danny Yedo here from the kitchen at Chiquette. Wood Fire Kitchen. You see here the dining room. We are going to do a Fideua paella today of duck and foie. So I'm going to go here and list all the ingredients to make sure you guys have everything at home. We have here olive oil, we have salt, we have the sofrito, which composes of the garlic, tomato, paprika, olive oil. We have the duck confit that we did earlier. We have some mushrooms. We have foie. We have asparagus, and we have fideua, and we have saffron here. So we're gonna have a plate here on the side, and we need one tong right now, and we're gonna also need a little bit of a knife at the very end. Okay. So we're gonna bring the fire up to about medium heat for those of you using gas stove at home or electric. Put the pan on here. Add some olive oil. Not too much here. I would be conservative. Add some salt. And we're gonna have the first ingredient, which is the mushrooms here. We'll stir them down a little bit here. There we go. Now with mushrooms, we're releasing the water, cooking down here a little bit. You want to cook the mushrooms about 85% to 100%. These are my maitake mushrooms, great mushrooms here. Sure, here the fire keeps going. Medium heat, we're a little patient here. This is a pretty quick paella because we're using fideos versus right. So we cook half the time here. Go. All right, I think I'm satisfied here. These mushrooms have cooked down. They've softened up in texture. These maitakes have a pretty fibrous, so they're still going to have some good structure to it. Not completely 100% soft. I'm going to remove the bigger ones. I'll leave the other ones there. Now we're going to add the sofrito. So I'm making a paella here for two. So that's tomato, so that's about a 2 tablespoons there of tomato, about a clove of garlic, and about here a little bit of sweet paprika. Mix that in. It's still medium heat. Just cook the tomato down. And then we go to our next step of putting the broth. So we have about 250 grams here for 2 people of fideos. See about 500 milliliters of when it's boiling. to be here. All right, so it's about a little bit more than 500 milliliters, because we want it to like cook and down and mix in with all the flavors there. Add now the saffron, crumble open your hand. All right. So now we bring this to a high heat, bring it to a boil, mix it all in together. I want to make sure I remove the ingredients here that I don't need. I'm keeping the foie away because I don't want it to melt. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here to the side. So right now I have here the maitake mushrooms, duck confit, the salt, asparagus, the fideos, as I'm bringing this to a boil. Make sure I stir well. All right, this is exciting. This kind of paella, kind of wines I like with this. Actually, pretty much 3 types of wine. I like sparkling brewed because it's just nice and refreshing. That's all. This is a paella that's full of flavor and intensity. So that's a good one. Also, if you want a red wine, a good Pinot Noir, a little lighter body, like a Burgundy, or would be really nice. If you want a white wine, if you want to go, Chardonnay would be the first thought process, but you want more of a Burgundian style Chardonnay, make sure that it cuts through all the flavors here as well. So again, you're looking at things that are not going to like compete against each other in terms of flavors, but you can enjoy with it. So sometimes I think about what would match with the duck and the foie, and the mushrooms are a good basis here in terms of like the type of paella. All right, I'm starting to get this to a boil. I add just one more. Okay, this is intensity. All right, I'm gonna add the fideos here. Now there's 2 real areas in Spain, and where in like the Valencia community in Gandia, they use fideos. Also in Catalonia area, they use fideos. And the biggest difference is that in the north and in Catalonia, they want it to be a dry type of experience in terms of the fideos. In Valencia, you want a little bit of a brockiness. That's how it's meant to be. So now that I put the fideos in, the fideos it's just a straight 8 to 10 minutes. So cook down. Now I'm gonna put in the duck confit on top because I want the product to show. On top of the fideos. Okay. I'm gonna wait a little bit to put the mushrooms. Take it down just a little bit more. I don't want to overcook too much. Now, about a minute, 2 in, as it's boiling, we want to taste it and try to make sure that it's to your level of salt that you prefer. Again, the fideo is going to absorb a little bit in terms of the salt. So you're going to have it slightly salted in terms of the broth and the flavors there, but not too much. If it, as you start cooking paellas with me, you start testing out, what is the appropriate level of salt. You want to make sure that as you add either rice or fideos, 1 minute afterward, that's really the time to judge on that. Okay, so I'm just making sure everything is spread out. The duck is already cooked, so I'm just making sure that it warms up during this process. Now I'm going to spread out here, some mushrooms. I like to put the mushrooms in like that. I mean, as it's facing the customer, the guest here, I like to make sure there's a nice design. So I put the mushrooms straight here in the middle, then I put the asparagus on the sides there. So right now, I just literally have 2 ingredients. I have the asparagus. I want to leave it in the last minute. So it's cut them up like this so they'll be nice and easy. And then the foie, we're going to cut thin slices of this at the end and putting on top as soon as we put in the asparagus. So when it comes to fideos, a couple different other things to consider is that with a sofrito, you may use onion. Unlike with rice, onion adds to the possibility. It's not just a little flavor, but it also adds water. So it helps the fideo to soften, which what you want, something that you don't want with the rice. The rice has a specific cooking time with and adding more adding onion would only hurt in terms of like softening up too much here. But with a fideo, this type of pasta is an acceptable component. So here we start seeing we have it here on high. I mean, out of 8-10 minutes, you can put the first 5 on high and then simmer the rest. It's fine. We're not necessarily in the rush. We just want to make sure to cook that down. Think about these fideos is like, just think about it plain simply like if you were putting this pasta at home, how long would it take? We got like 3-4 minutes here. And the plain simple reason why people in Spain use fideo instead of just rice like all other paellas is that one time on a ship, they were wanting to cook a paella and they didn't have rice. And what they did have was fideos. And so therefore they made their first Fideua type of paella. It was that plain and simple. So basically, you might have heard me say this term meloso when you want it like frothy. So right now, I'm starting to see all the noodles. I'm gonna take some strength away here. As a simmer, the fire a little bit to the side. So now we're at medium heat, still soft, noodles to softening up. I'm now adding a little bit of asparagus here. They're all nice and small, so it'll cook fairly quickly. And now here, I'm gonna start adding a little bits of foie and just spreading it out through it so it starts melting in. Spreading out so you can enjoy it throughout the paella. And there you go. You can always test a little bit here, see how the noodle is. Very soft. And I think I'm enjoying it where it is at. Just making sure it just warms up. If you see the bubbles here in the pan, there's still a little bit of broth in here. That's not a bad situation to be in. That means it still is a little liquid, which is preferable. And now I'm gonna take it off. And here we have our Fideua of duck and foie. Put a little bit more light here. And there you go. I hope you guys enjoy this at home.